have some questions about the pre-development plan. I know we approved that on March 2nd, 2021, ordinance 2021-20, and there was an Exhibit A in there that kind of just described what the pre-development plan was and what we should expect for the $250,000.
That's fine. Do you not think you got your money's worth? We spent 3 hours presenting. This cost way more than $250,000. You'll get a follow-up written report, but I don't know where you're going with this.
Where I'm going with this is going through the pre-development plan deliverables from what was agreed upon, and I just want to go through that.
Well, this is a big project, right?
So this next clip is just a few moments from what was nearly a 7-hour meeting over in Middletown, and what we're seeing is this young woman who's mayor of that town questioning these guys who have come in with this big plan for it was $3 billion. Now it's up to $1.5 billion.
Yes.
Of course, that was a couple hours ago. It could be $1.7 billion now. Massive project.
It'll be two. It'll be two before.
Yeah.
First time.
But anyway, she's throwing some questions at them, and their response to her is, I was kind of astonished when I saw it. The way they reacted, like, how dare you ask us questions? You know.
Well, let's rip into it and see. Talk about it.
You said that there's no city pledged funds. Does that mean you're not referencing the $7.5 million ARPA dollars, the city pledged funds?
That's correct.
I mean, they are our tax dollars in one fashion or another, whether they come from federal or not. And to say that, you know, we're not taking away anything, I would say that we're taking away opportunity from other potential projects. So I would just caution at how that's referenced.
One thing I was very impressed, we haven't had a mayor able to ask questions like that for a long, long time. In fact, I don't ever remember having one. We had a council member, a Sandy Widener, who could do that. But you folks are really fortunate in having this type of person up there able to ask questions like that and inquire into things like this. When it comes to, particularly when it comes to big projects like this,
and a representation of the citizens. I mean, we'll go into this a little further, because when I started to rip this thing apart, I was like, where are the citizens involved with this? You know, because I mean, they popped this project on them like they did in Racine.
Yeah.
But you know, these citizens prior to this meeting was about 5 hours of citizens saying, "Hey, you know, why aren't we involved? How did I just hear about this? You know, what kind of land are you taking?" I mean, a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
So to just drop this on a community shows the disrespect, I think, for the citizens. But you know,
I call it arrogance, but that's the same thing. Yeah,
right.
It's
My perspective, I mean, I'm just basically, 9 months ago, no one contemplated one of those dollars. We didn't have them, they weren't coming, and for whatever reason, if you agree with it, don't agree with it, that act happened, and in effect, a windfall came to the city, which is magnificent. It is allowing us to do things we would have never, ever done. And what we've proposed to all of you, obviously, is that those use be in the most strategic possible way, to hit on at least 3, maybe 5, maybe 6 highly strategic, very important, highly prioritized economic development projects. This is one of those. So yeah, it's really important, but this is not money we ever had. This is not money we ever relied upon. And this is money that came to us as a windfall. And as a result of it, we're here today. Number one, absolutely, we would not be here today having any of these discussions if we didn't have that money.
Funding on
what
it?
he's saying basically is that I'm first in line for this money, and therefore you should be listening to me. But that's all he said there. He said, "This is money we've got, But
dibs. I got dibs on the $7.5 million.
That's the only argument he's got there.
And I got my buddies right behind me,
Yeah.
And we're going to come up there and show you how we're going to take it.
This guy had a project in Racine.
Yeah.
And you probably all recognize the voice of Jim Palahniuk, or maybe you don't. But anyway, Jim was the city manager.
Oh yeah. I forgot to say. Yeah, it was. We all know that was Jim Palahniuk. We all
city
recognize his voice.
administrator.
We've heard
him
him
more
for many,
power
many
down
hours.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! All right, so now she's going to ask, "Where's the how are we financing this?"
Funding on it, and where that will be coming from on the developer's end. I know in the YouTube video you mentioned pension funds.
Like I said, the short answer is I can't tell you exactly where the money could come from. I can tell you I'm confident that we can raise the money because we've had conversations with people. Are you interested? Yes, I'm very interested. When you have the package, let's talk. Well, right now we're developing a package. That's why we're here.
Which of the 5 pension funds have you spoken with yet that you referenced in the YouTube?
Well, Bob, you around?
Bob?
Bob? Where's Bob? Where's Bob? Bob
Can't come up, you know, they're talking about more than $1 billion project, and he can't remember the names of anybody who's interested in it that has money.
We did talk to him, though.
Yeah.
He knows.
I kind of got the impression, too, that he was kind of saying, essentially, that this is a big project, and we've worked on it, and you really have no business questioning us anything at this point.
Because we know.
Yeah, because, we're doing the right thing. Just have to go along with it. Don't be throwing pebbles in front of our train.
Pebbles.
Okay. I can tell you they're very, very large. We talked to one fund that has a $30 billion real estate portfolio. I mean, they're the usual suspects. If you went and looked at the largest pension funds in North America, you would see who they are. But
Why should she have to go and look? If
They're big.
If they're so well known.
They're big.
They're
big, Doc.
Yeah, again, it's back to don't worry about it. Don't be asking all these little questions. They don't mean anything. This is in good hands. We're handling it for you.
Yeah.
Financing.
Yeah.
A friend of mine's going to buy the gas. Don't worry about it. Let's jump in the car and get going. I can't remember his name, but he lives in the next town.
Plan. I know we approved that on March 2nd, 2021, ordinance 2021-20, and there was an Exhibit A in there that kind of just described what the pre-development plan was and what we should expect for the $250,000.
Okay, they already spent $250,000. We know that.
Wow.
On the what we saw the
Development plan.
You know, they had to scratch out Racine. They didn't even use white.
Literally. Yeah, I spoke with somebody. Well, you spoke to the same guy. There were a couple of spots on that presentation where the name of the city of Racine was on the paperwork.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyway, the mayor's asking, how'd you guys spend the $250? Legitimate question.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, taxpayers' money. Let's ask. Find out what he says.
That's fine. Do you not think you got your money's worth? We spent 3 hours presenting. This cost way more than $250,000.
Now,
don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It's worth. We gave you more than $250,000.
I call this bullying. I think he's just up there and say, you got your money's worth. Shut up.
We got 3 hours in this.
Yeah.
Oh
This
my
is
God.
amazing. We had one of these.
I mean, the arrogance is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking to get $7.5 million. You didn't think you get money's worth? I mean, listen,
Hey, listen, we didn't-
young lady.
We didn't even charge you for copying the plans that we used in another town. There's no copying fees in there. We're
you gave
just
me
giving
stuff
you
up.
that part.
All right, there's more.
You'll get a follow-up written report, but I don't know where you're going with this.
Where I'm going with this is going through the pre-development plan deliverables from what was agreed upon, and I just want to go through that.
Well, this is a big project, right? There's a lot of ways that you move with this. I think we've done a remarkable job of making sure that this didn't cost the city any money, right? So we've worked really hard to get there. We are here. We just followed up, and we were just finishing up late Friday night. So written report will be to follow, but you've seen the plan.
But I can understand that there's not a lot of breakdown at this point in that. Conceptual entertainment.
If I could, I'm just going to break in. There's been grand levels of that detail that have been shared with Andy and Caleb, with the staff. And, yes, it hasn't come before the city council or the mayor, but I can assure you we've seen all those details.
There's that bullying. I mean, it's just a flat-out attack on the mayor for asking questions. And God bless her, and you folks better be behind her.
Yeah,
she's really good.
She hangs in there. She's a tough
Well, not
gal.
even praising her for asking pertinent questions, just demeaning them as though there is no purpose behind them whatsoever.
Yeah.
You just-
grand. It's grand. It's big. It's special. We've talked to people. I mean, that should be enough.
I mean, a good salesman would say, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, even a good salesman, if that you're going to rip somebody off, you'd at least praise them in the fact I'm going to get it in the end.
Yeah.
But they don't even do that. I mean, these guys
No,
aren't even
no.
good.
No,
No.
It's right after her. What are you asking questions like that for?
don't worry about those muddy tracks we're leaving all over your back. We're going to put a dry cleaner in this development project, too.
Have any of the projects come to fruition that have been referenced? And the Racine as well?
Racine, I'm flying there tomorrow to finish up. You know, I don't know if you're, well, let me back up for a second. This has been a very difficult time for the,
So tomorrow would have been like,
Well, let me
Last
back
week.
up. Let me back up. I gotta figure out. I almost said something truthful, so I gotta hang on.
we don't want the truth in this conversation.
this has been a very difficult time for the hospitality industry. COVID has been very difficult. Banks are hostile openly to hospitality. So the fact that we're this close and we will be in the ground in both Racine and Mason City this spring, that. For Racine, there was, they made us move the project to a swamp. That's what they did. It had,
Oh, we don't even have a swamp in Racine.
Who knows? It's like the shell game. You don't know who's playing anymore. Where's the P? Hell, nobody knows. You saw our mayor, and you see these guys. It's like a glove in a hand. It all fits well together, but nothing ever gets done.
Miraculously. Well,
Thank goodness.
but there's always the threat of something getting done. And when that threat is looming on the horizon, you need some public money to get it over the edge. Because, we had this $30 billion pension plan, but they tanked at the last minute. I don't know, they had union problems or something. So what we're going to have to do is get you to co-sign on this $1 billion.
It's a really interesting. They got $7.5 million, and it cost $7.5 million to put this plan together.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. How right down to the penny.
They were just lucky.
Boy, they were lucky to get
Could have
it.
cost a lot more.
Lucky.
to a swamp. That's what they did. It added $8 million to the project. They still want it. So we're working through that. I'm flying there tomorrow. I will spend the rest of the week finishing that up. Once that gets done, and part of that is we wanted to add 650 units of retail, of residential, and that makes it a mixed-use project, which makes it financeable for us. Straight up, hotel convention center is not going to.
That is a flat out just a totally obnoxious statement. Because it's now mixed use, we have commercial now, residential. Because it's a mixed use project, it's now going to work. Huh? What has that got to do with anything? Yeah, I mean, mixed use might be good, might be bad, but to say just because those two come
It's
come
automatically
together,
work. The
all of a
money's
sudden-
just going to come pouring in.
Yeah,
now,
like it's,
in this meeting, I mean, and it was so long that it was hard to pull out. These are just the highlights, I guess you'd say. But they talked about these, what do you call them, tech billionaires, these tech billionaires. 200 million means nothing to them. I mean, it's just talk. It's blubber out there. And I'm just like, you have no substance. You have no base for any of this stuff. There's nothing to go on.
If they
here.
can't answer some decent questions
Yeah.
that the mayor presented, they can't just honestly and straightforward answer those questions, there's something going awry with the planning of this. There's something missing, something that you better be watching out for.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it sounds like they're watching out. Now, since they've seen this play or this video that we put together and the program that we put together, and they've actually reached out and asked about what the heck is going on.
I think some of this Common Council, I think a lot of people didn't see because it was well into the evening, and I think a lot of people had already left and went home. And this was, it was like 6.5 hours, I think the whole meeting was.
Well,
so.
they probably, all they saw was headlines in the paper the next day. 1.3 billion
So,
project.
I mean, I think it's
to go.
important that the community sees this. And this is what we do in Racine. We actually bring out Common
and
Council
be able
meetings.
to start the project. So my understanding, and I will confirm it when I'm there, it's one of the things I'm going to be doing, that part of our work has already begun. We have to move a sewer line, which is pretty major, and we're going to try to get that done before spring so we can be in the ground. So that's what we're doing in those projects. It has been, we will be some of the very first projects out of the ground as we get out of COVID.
It's an interesting story because I don't know if anybody wants to hear it, but when we were doing a project that was very different,
That's right.
it was in an ice arena and a hotel convention center or whatever. Then Gatehouse originally submitted on that, but later, of course, it changed. So yeah, it began that way. No, it never was.
I'm not sure
Well,
what that
It
last
never
part
was. Well, here's what I want to do. A lot of stuff they talked about Spooky Nook, which is a sports complex that came to Hamilton, Ohio. Because, I wanted to try to be as fair as you can because, maybe there is something that's, we're missing. I heard it over and over. And I'm going to play a little bit here where Palahniuk speaks on Spooky Nook and Hamilton and how business is being drawn to that community because of this complex. So let's just play through this and then we'll talk about it.
There's a concert venue for live events in here. You might get 10,000 people go there an evening. That lets out. They only came there for that, which means now they're getting out. They want to go to that restaurant, to that bar outside and just do all kinds of things. You've just put 10,000 people in your downtown that otherwise weren't going to be in your downtown. But in the traditional sense, like Hamilton came to be, with Spooky Nook, you have to put real city money. I mean, real money from your general fund, from your enterprise funds, from general obligation bonded debt and other things. I've only been in this region for a year and a half, but I'm hearing about all these things happening in Hamilton in advance of Spooky Nook.
Right.
Just the very promise of it has all these small businesses coming into play. So I'm really guessing if we wind up moving forward and doing this, the promise itself of this will start to see investment and spin-off activity. Because inevitably you see that every time these kinds
What
of
has
things
to be
happen.
taken into consideration there, he's talking about drawing a crowd of 10,000 people. That ain't going to happen very often in a town of 51,000. It's just not going to happen where
Yeah,
you get that
and-
large of a crowd and then have them disperse into the community to eat barbecued ribs or whatever you do after an event like that.
Yeah, but there's also restaurants in this complex, so they're going to go out to downtown Hamilton or Middletown.
And the other problem is that if 10,000 people is what was supporting a $161 million project, $161 million project, then you're going to need 6 times that many people. You're going to need 60,000 people if you're supporting a $1.3 billion project.
Right.
So I mean, you're really not comparing apples to apples. You're comparing motorcycles to automobiles. It's two different.
Well,
maybe it's even bicycles to automobiles.
Right.
Skates, roller
Well,
skates.
here's the difference. When you talk about, they throw this word, a Spooky Nook. I didn't know what it was. I'm thinking, okay, let's take a look at it. I mean, our plan was not to dig so far into Middletown, but once we got into it, I guess we
Well,
just
it gets
kind of
interesting, yeah. when you
it
start
gets
looking at it,
interesting,
yeah.
and it does kind of relate to us. There is a developer, and he's got a name, and he shows up here. Now, he started this in 2016.
On Spooky Nook, there's a developer. Yeah,
exactly.
he's got a name. Yeah,
In 2016, he started to look at Hamilton. It's going to be 2022 before it's completed. He went through this whole process, and at the end of the show, I'm going to show you a clip that he did in 2018 about the project in Hamilton. And he has one in Lancaster. He's got one in East.
He's got a history of success.
He does.
Yeah.
So now you've got an animal here that says, hey, what you got here is a $1.3 billion with I hope he comes. I can't tell you who the developer is. I can't tell you who the financiers are. I mean,
But they're big.
yeah, they're big and you don't trust us. That's what you got here on this development.
Yeah.
On the other one, we did a little digging.
You've got a guy
put some-
who understands his project, understands the effect it has, understands
Exactly.
what the flow is going to be through it, and so he has a much
And-
better
and-
understanding of how it's, and it mostly is his own financing too, because he's putting his own money into it now, so he wants to be darn sure he's right with regards to the financing and the flow.
Exactly,
all
and
that
he's a
kind of
guy you can
stuff.
talk to. Here he is. There's the body.
Well, you know what? I think we've done it for Monday morning. We're getting close to running beyond what we usually do here, aren't we? So
a little bit.
You got one more thing you want to...
I do want to bring in. I just want to bring in the fact that really look close at this project. And it took 5 years for Spooky Nook. And I'm sure there was participation by the community. I'm sure there was participation by the council and the business owners and the residents. You've got a project here that you're ramming through a 1.3 in 2 weeks. I mean, it's astonishing. They tried the same thing here. Thank goodness we had some people here that kind of rose to the occasion to at least review it. You got to review that project. Sorry, but that's it. So we're going to leave Middletown alone now from this point on.
Well, yeah, we appreciate all you people from Middletown stopping by for a visit. Don't be strangers in the future. And all you regular viewers, thanks for being here. We'll be back next week looking for you.
Spooky Nook Sports in Pennsylvania, who want to build a similar facility here in Hamilton, have come out with their latest video showing what the facility may look like. The Mill 1 area shown here is the sports portion of the facility, containing many indoor sports fields, courts, training facilities, weightlifting areas, a rock climbing wall shown on the left there, concession area, and many places for people to stand and sit, as you just saw on the left there. Here's an example of an indoor soccer field or football field that could be used. Here's an outdoor facility. And here's some courts, and this does not convey anywhere near the size of the facility on the Mill 1 side. Operators plan to team up with sports teams and leagues for training, including potentially the new and hot FC Cincinnati soccer team. Now, Mill 2, this area here, is the area across the street that would include a hotel, a pretty upscale one, as well as convention areas. As with the facilities near Lancaster, Pennsylvania, these have an industrial clean look, but also the hotel and restaurants and the convention areas do have a comfortable feel that's brought on by the interior design and also conveys the feeling of the building's former use. Here's a look at what one of the convention reception areas could look like, according to the architect's rendering. As in Pennsylvania, the facility also would include a rather large hotel. That would be the exterior of the hotel on the left along that corridor. Spooky Nook founder Sam Byler, who used to own the Auntie Anne's pretzel making business that you find in many malls, has been renovating buildings in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and loves restoring them so that you get a peek at the former use of the buildings. He did the same thing at the Spooky Nook facility, which used to be a huge warehouse for flooring materials that were shipped nationwide. Here's another convention reception